I was accidentally introduced to the value and power of this concept as a 26-year-old president of a family business in Chicago that had no clue as to what a president should do. I had no training or background to really be effective as an executive leader. I was a sales guy, and that's what had earned me the opportunity. But I grabbed up a bunch of our financial reports. We had monthly financial reports that were very accurate back then, and I just began to dive into them to try to absorb what really makes a business profitable, or what are the levers I can pull to maybe increase profitability. And you know, by studying those financial reports, I realized that if our gross sales were at a certain level, and if our product sales mix was a certain mix between new equipment sales and repair parts and repair sales, that the business would be profitable. And then I backed up into that and I said, well, what are the things that impact those three items? What drives our gross sales? How do we influence our product mix? And at what profitability level do they have to stay in order for the business to be profitable? And so I began to work a plan to move those levers and to do the things the best I could. And it was just a very basic plan that a 26-year-old could make who had a sales background. I identified the top 25% of all our sales organizations, and I packed my bag and went to them and began to experiment with what kinds of things I could do for them or say to them that would get them to be more involved in selling our products as opposed to other options they had. And you know, within 1 year, that business that had been unprofitable for 9 years turned profitable. And that's where I began to see the value of KPIs. Later, I sold that company. This is long ago, back in the 60s, but to a man who I grew to greatly admire. I would actually call him a genius before his time, before the days of computers. He had systems in identifying sales and where sales came from and what effectiveness his advertising dollars produced and so forth. And when I first got to know him, I was walking through the plant with him one day, and he reached in his pocket. He pulled out a little 3x5 card. And I said, Mr. DeWitt, what's that? And he said, oh, that's the daily report I get on our incoming sales, our cash balance in the bank. But I said, well, tell me more about that. Well, he was using KPIs. He knew in his business what those drivers were, which levers to pull to drive performance. And so the combination of those two early on things have made me such a believer in knowing what those elements in our business are, the ratios between elements of the business that need to be in a proper orientation in order for the business to be growing, thriving, experiencing robust good health, and going strong.